Hi guys, today we're gonna do some practice questions by using the first principle of differentiation. So I selected 5 or 6 practice questions to do this. So let's select my pen here. My pen. I want to write in. I write in blue. Okay, so let's solve this. So fx 5x squared. So we are trying to do differentiate using the first principle. So this is the main idea of differentiation. So after you know this rule, I don't think you're gonna ever use this limit approach to do differentiation. But before doing any of those, we just have to solve differentiation questions using the first principle as a start. Okay, so when you differentiate using the first principle, every time you have to use this rule of x plus h minus x divided by h. I explained this in the previous video. You can go to my channel and look at the previous video. I explained how we get this equation. And yeah, so every time you do the differentiation using first principle, you have to use this equation. All right, just apply this equation to the above question. So let's say fx plus h. So every time you see a x, you have to add a h. So it's going to be 5x plus h squared. I think it's clear for you guys. So instead of x, because it's x plus h, so I put 5x plus h squared minus fx, which is 5x squared divided by h, right? So let's expand x plus h squared 1. So it's going to be square the first variable. So it's going to be x squared plus double the product of two terms. So 2xh plus square the last term squared minus 5x squared divided by h. Alright, so now I've used the distributive property, so it's going to be multiplying everything inside the bracket by 5, so it's going to be 5x squared plus 10xh plus 5h squared minus 5x squared divided by h. So everything has to be divided by h. Right? Now, here h cancels out, here 1h cancels out on the numerator, and this is going to be like this. So plus f5x squared over h minus 5x squared over h, so these two gonna cancels out. So we're gonna end up having 10x plus 5h. So yeah, remember that we have, this is a limit approach, right? When h goes to 0, what happened when h goes to 0? Here is going to be 10x. 5 times 0 is 0, so the answer for this question is going to be 10x, right? So that when you differentiate the above function 5x squared in respect to x, we get the answer as 10x. So this is the differentiation by first principle. I can show you another example. So I'm gonna talk less in this one, so then you guys can follow what I'm doing. So let's say I'm gonna write down the equation that we need to solve this, which is very important. Now I'm gonna apply the equation. So it's gonna be 3x plus h plus 2 minus 3x plus 2 right, so divided by h, so it's going to be 3x plus 3h plus 2 minus 3x plus 2. So everything has divided by h. We have h in the denominator, so this h cancels out. So let's say limit when h goes to 0. H goes to 0 in the first one, 3x divided by 0, which is going to be cancels 0, and there's no h here, so 3 is gonna we have 3 in there. In the third part we have h, so it's going to be 0. We have h in the denominator, it's going to go 0 0, so the answer here is going to be 3, right? Let's go to another example. So let's write down the equation. Limit h goes to 0. So I'm first going to write down the equation that we need, divided by h, right? And now it's going to be 3x plus h squared plus 4x plus h plus 3 minus 3x squared plus 4x plus 3, whole thing divided by h. Alright, now I'm going to combine this, so it's going to be 3x squared plus double the product of two terms, so 2xh times 3, which is going to be 6xh plus 3h squared plus 4x plus 4h plus 3 negative 3x squared plus 4x plus 3, whole thing divided by h. Let's see, is there anything that's going to cancel out here? Yeah, 3x squared plus 3x minus 3x squared going to cancel out. 6xh, there's nothing for it, plus 3x squared, 4x, 4h, plus 3, 4x plus 3. Okay, so we have pretty much I made a mistake here, so it's going to be negative this whole thing. So it's going to be negative 3x squared and negative 4x, and negative times positive 3 is negative 3. So this is going to end up having 4x and negative, it's going to cancel out, right? And plus 3 and negative 3 going to cancel out. So we end up having 6x h over h plus 3h squared over h. So these two gonna go, and now 4h over h. So that's it. So it's gonna go like that, and we ended up having 6x plus 3 plus 4. Right? Plus 3h plus 4. Right? Because this h is gonna just cancel one h, so we have 3h. So when limit h goes to 0, what are we going to end up having? There's no h here, 6x. 3 times 0 is 0, plus, so there's no h in the plus 4, so the answer is 6x plus 4. Let's go to a different question. Alright, I'm going to do this fast, so it's going to be limit which goes to 0, so it's going to x plus h minus fx divided by h, right? So it's going to be 5h cubed minus 5 minus, so this is going to be, and then minus minus going to be plus 5 divided by h, right? So it's going to cancel out. Let's see what we're going to end up having here. So it's going to be so we can do this. So I would say the best thing is to do is do it as separate thing. We can say x plus h squared, x plus h. This is the same thing as x plus h to the power 3. So it's going to be x squared plus 2xh plus h squared times x plus h. Right, so it's going to be x to the cube plus 2x squared h plus h squared plus x squared h 2x h squared plus h cube. Right, so finally it's going to end up being h cube plus, we have another term with x squared, so 2x squared plus 1x squared h, so it's going to be 3h squared h. So we got this guy, we got this guy, we got this guy now. Let's see, we have another one, h squared also, we have 3x h squared plus h cube. So this is going to be end up having, everything has to multiply by 5, so 5x cube plus 15x squared h plus 15x h squared plus 5h cube, 5x cube negative has to be divided by h. Okay, so these two gonna cancel out. Alright, so now we end up, this h gonna cancel out here. It's gonna be h squared. So we're gonna end up having limit when h goes to 0, no x here, so it's gonna be 15x squared. There is a x, so h, so 15x times 0 is gonna be 0, so this is gonna be 0. So this is all there's h, so 15 times 0 squared is going to be 0. So what you're going to end up having is this 15 squared. This is going to be the answer. Later on you will figure out the principles to do differentiation, and then you can do this differentiation easily with, you don't have to go through all those steps. So this is the basic first principle of doing the differentiation. So this is a very important concept. So so there's a limit h goes 0, fx plus h minus fx divided by h. So there is no x in this function. So if you draw this function, so this says fx is equal to 0, so y if fx equal to 3. So let's say if you draw a graph, if you graph this, so this is a line, so that this is fx equal to 3, right? So this is just a line. So can we find a tangent to this line? There's no tangent for this line. This is not a curve. So differentiation of a constant number, a differentiation of a constant is always 0. So answer for this 0. There is no slope in this line. Okay, there's no slope in this line, so it's going to be 0. Let's go to the I think this is the last one. Okay, so let's apply the principle here too. H equals to 0. So fx plus h minus fx divided by h. So 5x squared plus 2xh. I'm combining 3 steps, so that way it's easier. Minus 6 plus h, 5x squared minus 6x, right, and divided by h. And then I'm gonna have to use the distributive property here, 10xh plus 5h squared minus 6x minus 6h minus 5x squared minus 6x divided by h 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 divided by h. So h. So I'm going to cancel out every h, that's going to cancel out. So limit when h goes to 0. So here is h on the denominator, so it's going to be 0. So there is no h in this term, the second term, so it's going to be 10x. There is a h on the numerator, so it's going to be 0. There is h in the denominator, 0, and then minus 6. So this is minus 6, and here it's going to be 0, this is going to be 0. So this is going to be the answer for this question, 10x minus 6. And I hope you guys understood the differentiation by the first principle. And yeah, and then in my other videos I'll explain you the other principles to do the differentiation, so that way you don't have to go through this brutal procedure every time that you want to find you want to do a differentiation to a function. Alright, thank you guys. Please subscribe to my channel and support the channel.